All right, so I think it's time to take a look at Bitcoin here. We are trying to confirm some of these daily bullish divs, and we did have some confirmations on this low previously. Now, when I've been looking at this, I have kind of been thinking that I'd prefer for this low to be taken out with some even better divergences on the 4 hour through like the 1 hour. But at the same time, if that happens, then we may not confirm these very slight daily bullish divs. So it's kind of a catch-22 at this point. But right now, I want to talk about the possibility of us not sweeping this low. Maybe this ends up being a low. Maybe despite the fact that we barely closed below the range low on the weekly time frame, we may still see this be a significant bottom. So I've been watching this daily time frame. Again, we still have this bullish div potential. We still have a higher low with momentum and a slight higher low with money flow. And we do have a green dot on the daily time frame right now. This just appeared like 10 minutes ago. I actually just restarted my computer so I could do this recording without much headache, hopefully. But we still have about 3.5 hours from when I'm recording this until this confirms. So I'm going to be paying attention to this. I'm going to be patient with this. I'm not going to rush to any conclusions. I want to see if these confirm. I want to see if the lower time frames start backing that up. So what we can do now is we can go down to those lower time frames starting on the 4 hour, and let's see if they are starting to point to the upside more so than they were when we had put in this low. Now, we did get some bullish confirmations on this low on the 4 hour. I talked about the bullish divergences. We have higher lows with momentum, higher lows with money flow as price took out the range low, put in a lower low. So there are some, not terrible looking confirmations on that low. In general, money flow is just kind of sticking in the red. It got a pretty serious turn back to the downside as we started dumping back down here. But as we've been ranging since putting in this low, we do see that things are starting to turn back to the upside. We see money flow starting to curve to the upside a little bit. It looks like it's in a bit of an uptrend where it's putting in higher highs and higher lows. We're seeing momentum start to turn to the upside. We did print this trigger wave last night, so that was this high. We got a retracement from that, but we are starting to see momentum start to turn back to the upside. 3 hour money flow does not look as good as the 4 hour. It is actually approaching putting in a lower low overall. So this right here is the lowest point. We did not have money flow divs on the 3 hour. There were the momentum divs, but money flow is definitely looking worse here. It is continuing to put in lower lows, and right now it's very close to putting in another lower low. So definitely some conflicting signs there. Let's go down to the 2 hour, and here the money flow is starting to reverse. So this as well did put in its lowest point around when price did. So no money flow divs there. There is momentum divs, but now we are seeing this money flow start to turn to the upside. And overall, we are seeing momentum on a bit of an uptrend too. Not exactly a gray one, because technically if you're going by higher highs and higher lows, then we didn't put in a higher high right here. But it is putting in higher lows at the very least. And right now we are, printing a green dot pretty close to the zero line. Maybe it wants to start to actually, turning to the upside along with money flow. So the 1 hour money flow has already crossed into the green since we've been ranging after the low, and it is turning back to the downside. We do see, maybe a little trigger wave here. It's not looking very optimistic just because the VWAP is kind of struggling there. You can see it flattening out already. Looks like it may cross back over as money flow is crossing into the red. But because the 2 hour and the 4 hour money flow are seeming to turn to the upside since we've been ranging here, I want to look at the lower time frames to see if they are backing up the 2 and the 4 hour and are maybe pointing to this 1 hour getting, a very brief move into the red before turning back to the upside. And basically what I would want to see for that is I would want to see something similar to what we see on the 1 hour where money flow got into the green since we've been ranging here. And I'd like to see it already in the red and already starting to turn back to the upside. That's kind of how I read the lower time frames through the lens of the higher time frames. I would just like to see the lower time frames a bit further ahead of the 1 hour and already starting to show signs that money flow is reversing and curving back to the upside. So let's take a look at the 45-minute. Here we see money flow is in the red already. It does not appear to be turning back to the upside. It's putting in lower lows. Looks like the VWAP is also curving back over, so definitely not a great look for that idea there. But going down to the 30-minute, this is what I wanted to see. So we see just like the 1 hour, money flow got into the green as we've been ranging here. it has already crossed back into the red and is now curving back to the upside. So that is potentially pointing to the 1 hour just being, a temporary retracement with money flow. Maybe it ends up finding some support close to the zero line. We could just get a very shallow move in the red. But I think overall things are definitely very conflicting here. I mean, the 3 hour is not agreeing with the 2 and the 4 hour. The 1 hour doesn't look like it's agreeing at the moment, but the 30-minute looks like, it could start to move the 1 hour more in the upward direction. We do see on the 15-minute, we saw money flow get into the green. It got its retracement into the red and is now putting in higher highs in the green with money flow. So it is continuing to see decent follow through right now. So I think overall things are definitely looking not very clear, but the more that we range in here, the more market cipher is starting to look like this may have been a significant low, and we may actually start pushing to the upside as these daily bullish divs confirm. So that's just an idea that I wanted to explore right now. Again, I still think a good idea would be coming down to take out this low with even better divs on the 4 hour through the 1 hour. But we may not see that. We have seen a lot recently. We don't get exactly the best confirmations on these pivot points. We saw that at least with this low on the 4 hour, money flow continuing lower, momentum continuing lower, yet it ended up being a significant pivot. There were divs on this high, but this was kind of a weird high. And also internally, I remember seeing a lot of examples where we don't get the best confirmations on these pivot points. So we could see that repeat again here. So as for how I'm playing this, I'm not rushing into any longs right now. I'm still pretty much sticking to my original plan. I will look for trade setups within this range. If we come down to sweep the low, there is potentially a trade idea from that low. If we start to reclaim some of this bearish strength as shown with the anchored VWAPs, and if we also start breaking some kind of local market structure, then I can start looking at long ideas. I think that would be a pretty solid sign that we may see at the very least a temporary bounce from this low. It doesn't have to be an extended rotation. Maybe we just kind of come up and retest another key high like this before rotating back to the downside. But yeah, those are really the two scenarios that I'd be looking at for me to be feeling bullish locally. And I just clicked back to the daily time frame, and you can see that that green dot has actually disappeared. So we'll see if it is still there by the time this daily candle closes. I really wasn't feeling super optimistic about this divergence printing just because of how the momentum wave looked as we put in the low. You can see how thick it was. It was continuing to get thicker, which is not a sign that it is going to bottom out. But yeah, we saw it very quickly cut in on itself, and now it is trying to print a green dot. Taking a look at the VWAP, really zooming in there. Remember the last time I looked at it, it kind of had a downwards turn to it, but now it has since started to turn to the upside, looking like it may cross over the zero line, which it already has because that is what prints the green dots. But yeah, right now it's kind of flopping around. So really, I'm just being patient right now. I'm not rushing into anything, but I am definitely keeping my eye on this kind of stuff because I think very soon we may have an answer as to what the next move may be. All right, that's it for this one. If we get any sort of significant update at any time in the future, it could be in a few hours, then I'll probably hop on and make another video. But I just want to get this idea out there because the more that we range here, the more it's looking like this may be a significant low. I still don't think it's very clear. I think it's more so like 50-50 at this point, whereas before I was thinking like, all right, there's probably a 65% chance or so that we at least come down to take out this low again. Now those odds are shifting more in the favor of this being a low. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. All right, thank you everybody for watching. If you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. I appreciate the support, and I will see you all in the next video.